bodybuilding became more popular with the emergence of strength and gymnastics champions and the simultaneous popularization of bodybuilding magazines such as Muscle Power, Muscle Builder, and Ironman, where training principles, nutrition for building up, and cutting down, the use of protein and other food supplements, an opportunity to enter physique contests. The number of bodybuilding organizations grew, and most notably, the International Federation of Bodybuilders, the IFBB, was founded in 1946 by Canadian brothers Joe and Ben Weider. Other bodybuilding organizations included the Amateur Athletic Union, the AAU, National Amateur Bodybuilding Association, NABBA, and the World Bodybuilding Guild, WBBG. Consequently, the contests grew both in number and in size. The most prestigious titles were Mr. America, Mr. World, Mr. Universe, Mr. Galaxy, and ultimately Mr. Olympia, which was started in 1965 by the IFBB and is now considered the most important bodybuilding competition in the world. Marvin Ader, known as the Biceps from the Bronx, was known not only for his aesthetic physique, but also for his impressive feats of strength. He was both a bodybuilder and a weightlifter. Marvin Ader was a bodybuilder who competed during the silver era of the sport, with contemporaries such as Reg Park and Steve Reeves. Marvin Ader's career was ultimately a short one, only competing for 2 years in 1949 and 1950. He started bodybuilding in the East Side Barbell Club Gym. Typical of the silver era, Marvin Ader weighed approximately 200 pounds during his prime years of competing. He had 19-inch arms, 50-inch chest, 17.5-inch calves, and 26.5-inch thighs. Beyond holding a fantastic physique, Marvin Ader was also known for having incredible strength. His most notable lift was a 500-pound bench press. At the time, he was the first person to complete this feat while weighing less than 200 pounds. Another notable lift from Ader was his 665-pound squat and 750-pound deadlift. Many in the bodybuilding industry believe that Marvin Ader was pound for pound the strongest bodybuilder to ever live. On top of this, Ader claimed to be a completely natural bodybuilder, adding even further amazement to his incredible lifts. Marvin Ader was extremely passionate about competitive bodybuilding and had a goal of competing in the Olympics. This ultimately did not happen. After retiring from weightlifting, he went on to be a plumber. George Eiferman was a notable figure in the sport of bodybuilding. In 1942, on his 17th birthday, Eiferman decided to join the U.S. Navy during World War II. During this time, he began lifting weights seriously and ended up putting on 40 pounds of muscle until his departure on his 21st birthday in 1946. He then joined Fritz's Gym in Philadelphia. He won the AAU Mr. America competition in 1948 and the Mr. Universe in 1962. In 1947, just a year after, he won the Mr. Philadelphia competition, which helped him advance into the Mr. America competition, where he placed 5th. In April of 1948, Eiferman won the Mr. California. 1 month later, he won the Mr. America title. He later moved to California, where he worked out regularly at Muscle Beach. During this time, Eiferman made a movie called The Devil's Sleep. In the 1960s, George of the Jungle cartoon character was created by the cook on his Minesweeper during the war by combining his likeness and the Tarzan character. Having a number of prestigious titles, he began traveling the country and giving speeches at high schools on living a healthy lifestyle and the benefits of weight training. Eiferman continued to lift, train, and compete, and went on to win the Mr. Universe in 1962. He also opened up his own gyms in Hawaii, Vista, California, and Las Vegas. In the 1980s, Eiferman had a TV show in Vegas called Take 5 for Fitness on Fox 5 in Las Vegas. As a trainer, nutritionist, and fitness ambassador, he worked with and enjoyed relationships with everyone from Lou Ferrigno, Steve Reeves, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to Mae West, Debbie Reynolds, Liz Taylor, and Marilyn Monroe. He also helped train celebrities like Rock Hudson, Sylvester Stallone, and even Elvis in the early 1970s when he was having health and weight issues. Eiferman was inducted into the IFBB Hall of Fame in 2000. On February 12, 2002, Eiferman died with his wife Bonita beside him. Leroy Colbert was a bodybuilding legend who prided himself on being a natural bodybuilder. He was credited for being the first man to develop 21-inch arms drug-free. Despite growing up in a period of intense racial prejudice, Leroy was able to break through the race barrier at the age of 20, becoming the first ever black athlete to appear on the front cover of Muscle Power magazine. After he formed a close friendship with fitness icon Joe Weider, throughout his 20s, Leroy was able to rise to fame. However, his fitness career came to a grinding halt when a serious motorcycle accident ended his ambitions on the bodybuilding stage, once and for all. Despite this, Leroy dedicated his entire life to bodybuilding, right up until the moment he sadly passed away in 2015. Because of his great achievements, Leroy has left a lasting legacy, going down in history as one of the most widely respected athletes the sport of bodybuilding has ever known. Inducted into the IFBB Hall of Fame in 2003. Lou Danyi, known professionally as Mark Forrest, was an American actor, opera singer, and bodybuilder, widely known as the protagonist in a series of 1960s sword and sandal movies, including his recurring role as Macisti. Born Lorenzo Louis Lou Danyi in Brooklyn, New York, Forrest was a third-generation Italian-American. His grandparents were from Naples. He began bodybuilding at 13, subsequently opening his own gym in Long Island. A talent scout saw his picture and invited him to Hollywood to audition for the role of Tarzan. Though he did not get the part, he became a member of the Muscle Man troupe in Mae West's Las Vegas stage show. During this time, he entered numerous bodybuilding competitions, winning the title of Mr. Muscle Beach in Venice, California. After the worldwide success of Hercules, he became the second American actor recruited by Italian producers after Steve Reeves, and was signed to a 3-picture contract with La Vendetta di Accoli, retitled Goliath and the Dragon. At this time, Daniel began using the pseudonym Mark Forrest and using his advantage of speaking fluent Italian prior to arriving in Europe. For the English version of the film, he was dubbed by Jackson Beck, who voiced Bluto in the Popeye cartoons. Forrest continued in the sword and sandal genre, active in Rome from 1961 to 1965, leaving the cinema to pursue a career as a European opera singer, a tenor, skilled in the bel canto technique, instructed by Giovanni Millo, composer and former tenor of the Metropolitan Opera of New York. In his later years, Forrest became a vocal coach in Studio City, California. He later lived in Arleta, California, and died on January 7th, 2022, a day after his 89th birthday. Larry Scott, also known as the Legend and the Golden Boy, is a legend of the sport. He won the first ever Mr. Olympia titles back-to-back and was the first athlete to sculpt 20-inch arms. He inspired the golden age of bodybuilders, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, and popularized what is now known as preacher curls. In 1956, at the age of 18, during his senior year in high school, Larry encountered a bodybuilding magazine. The future legend was instantly inspired and began lifting weights. However, he wasn't training in a gym. At this point, he was using an old tractor axle as a dumbbell. In 1958, Larry entered his first competition, the Mr. Idaho Show. All of his hard work paid off, and he placed first in his debut. This victory made him realize that he had the potential to succeed in the industry. He set his sights on becoming a fitness sensation. In 1958, he moved to California and began training at Burt Goodrich's Hollywood Gym. It was there that Larry met Mr. Muscle Beach, Lou Denye, who took Larry under his wing and helped him develop a great body. Soon after, Larry had a change of scenery and joined Vince's gym. Here, he met the owner and bodybuilding legend, Vince Gironda. The Iron Guru took it upon himself to personally train the youngster. Under the guidance of an icon, Larry made serious progress and was ready for his first major competition, the 1960 AAU Mr. California. Over the next 6 years, Larry continued developing his physique, gaining more recognition with every competition. During this period, he took home 4 trophies, as well as placing in the top 3 in 3 shows. By the age of 26, the Golden Boy had packed on around 50 pounds of muscle using Vince Gironda's methods and had sculpted an incredible physique. After dominating the Mr. Universe contests in 1963 and 1964, he set his sights on bigger competitions. A year later, Joe Weider created the prestigious Mr. Olympia show, which held its first ever competition in 1965. Joe wanted the event to host the best bodybuilders in the world, so he only invited top title winners. Without hesitation, as the back-to-back winner of Mr. Universe, Larry entered the 1965 Mr. Olympia. He managed to replicate his previous success, and he was unanimously placed first. Winning this title meant that Larry was crowned as the world's greatest bodybuilder, but he wasn't done yet. He returned a year later and stepped on stage at the 1966 Mr. Olympia. The legend successfully defended his position as the king of the industry, becoming a superstar. In 1999, Larry's accomplishments in the fitness industry were memorialized. He was inducted into the coveted IFBB Hall of Fame, alongside other icons like John Grimmick and Arnold Schwarzenegger. On March 8, 2014, Scott died of complications from Alzheimer's disease at his home in Salt Lake City at age 75.